Boker Tov. It is really a pleasure to share this info with you and Chelsea this morning. Mazal Tov. Our new Constitution is now established and has an appearance that promises permanency. But in this world, nothing can be said to be certain except death and taxes. In 1789, Benjamin Franklin coined these words, and they have long since become an idiom, perhaps even a cliche in our language. Yet the fact remains that life constantly changes. Neither our intellect nor our resources are permanent. We are constantly shaped by the ideas that we engage with and by those we choose to love, near or far. Death, however, we can count on, and the same goes for taxes. In Ki Tisa, we meet what is one of the more peculiar and anomalous taxes in our tradition. And Eric read these words just this morning. Over the past 2 weeks, God has been giving Moses all sorts of detailed instructions, from building the tabernacle to fashioning the priestly garments. Ki Tisa begins with God's instruction that when Moses take the census, he should charge each eligible man a tax. Yet the reason for this tax, and the method of taking it, are particularly interesting. He'ashir lo yarbeh v'hadal lo yamit mimachatzit hashekel latet et trumat Adonai l'chaper al nafshotechem. The rich shall not pay more, and the poor shall not pay less than half a shekel when giving the offering to the Lord to atone for your souls. This is no ordinary tax. In fact, it may be the first flat tax in human history. A flat tax is the quintessential regressive tax. It demands a fixed amount from each person rather than requiring that each pay according to his or her means. When I first read this, the questions overwhelmed my mind. How can the poor be made to pay the same as the rich? Ours is the tradition that leaves the corners of our fields for the needy. The tradition that spurred Isaiah's call to uphold the rights of the orphan and defend the cause of the widow. How can such a tradition condone the use of such a crude system of taxation? When a tax like this was proposed by politicians in the U.S., it made me furious. Kal v'chomer when I find it in the Torah. Counter my instinct, Nachmanides interprets that this tax is just because of its purpose, lechaper al nafshotechem, to atone for your souls. If the rich were required to pay more, and the poor were allowed to pay less, this might imply that a soul's value is related to its owner's worldly possessions. Certainly we would not find that fair or just. Taking this idea further, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rav Schneerson, interprets that while people differ in their intellect, character, and talents, in the quality of their material resources and the timbre of their spiritual sensitivities, all are equal on the very basis of their bond with God. This too I find fitting. The innate equality of each human stems from the knowledge that we are created in the image of God, regardless of the fact that no two of us possess the same skills, ideas, or talents. Schneerson adds that this tax is interesting all the more so because we are asked to bring something less than whole. Machatzit hashekel. The half shekel symbolizes that we are less than complete until we give to the whole and contribute to the greater good. And we see this evidence in our relationships, whether between us and our romantic partners, our families, our classmates, or our congregations. Individually, we may be equal, but we are still less than whole. When we share of ourselves, maybe sending a thoughtful message to one in need, complementing a classmate's idea with one of our own, both sides of the relationship become more whole. So perhaps a flat tax was the only tax that could be appropriate. It was the only means of ensuring that each and every soul, every nefesh, be valued equally before God. So ultimately, Franklin's words ring true through the centuries. There is very little that is permanent about our world, yet alone about us. Our ideas and our values, our friends and our loved ones, our intellects, skills and passions, our wealth, even our bodies, are all impermanent. Nothing is promised. They will not exist forever. Yet the intrinsic value of our souls and the spark of divinity within each of us cannot be taken away. They become more whole when we share them with others. This is as certain as death and taxes. Boker Tov.